Welcome to a journey through time, one that challenges the very fabric of what we've been taught about the origins of humanity. Picture this, a story stretching back over 200,000 years, beginning in the plains of East Africa, where the first hominids stood upright on 2 feet. A story that takes us across continents through ice ages and into the realms of myth and legend. But what if this story is far more complex than we've ever imagined? What if the truth about our origins is hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered? We start our tale in the heart of Africa, in the regions of Ethiopia and Sudan. Here, archaeologists have unearthed the oldest human remains, genetically identified as Homo sapiens. These early humans, our ancestors, carried within them the seeds of a journey that would shape the destiny of our species. The out of Africa theory tells us that all groups or races outside of Africa share mitochondrial DNA with a common female ancestor, often referred to as the mitochondrial Eve. This connection links us all back to the very cradle of humanity, a shared lineage that crossed into Eurasia via the Middle East, eventually spreading across Central Europe and East Asia. But this is where the story begins to diverge from the familiar narrative. As Homo sapiens migrated, they encountered other hominid species, Neanderthals and Denisovans. These groups had evolved separately in Europe and Asia, isolated by vast distances and climatic barriers. The Neanderthals, with their heartland in the region beyond Turkey, up towards Russia and the Caucasus Mountains, thrived for over 30,000 years before the last ice age. In these remote caves, archaeologists have discovered full Denisovan and Neanderthal skulls, teeth, and jawbones, offering us a glimpse into a time when these species walked the earth alongside our ancestors. Now imagine a time when these groups, Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans, began to interbreed. This mixing of genes created new traits, some dominant, others recessive, but all contributing to the diversity of human features we see today. Some offspring inherited traits that made them appear more human in height and skin tone, but with distinctive features: elongated skulls, blue eyes, narrow noses, cleft chins, long earlobes, and striking red or blonde hair. These individuals, seen as beautiful and unique, may have given rise to the myths of elves, ethereal beings with otherworldly characteristics. On the other hand, those who inherited more robust traits from Neanderthals or Denisovans, such as short stature, muscular builds, and coarse hair, were perhaps the inspiration for the legends of dwarfs, often hidden away and forced to toil in caves, living apart from the emerging human societies. As these mixed breeds continued to evolve, so too did their societies. Moving away from wooden structures, they began to live in caves and build stone dwellings. This evolution coincides with the dawn of civilization in the Mesopotamian region, where the ancient city of Göbekli Tepe, dated to around 12,000 years ago, marks one of the oldest known human settlements. Here, at the end of the last ice age, these beings, whether you call them elves, Anunnaki, or something else entirely, reintroduce themselves to the world. With larger brain cavities and elongated skulls, they possessed intellects far beyond the average human, their brains up to 80% larger. Emerging from their mountain retreats or underground cities, they brought with them knowledge of farming, astronomy, and engineering, teaching the early humans the skills needed to build the foundations of civilization. The evidence of their influence can be seen in the megalithic structures scattered across the globe, monuments that defy explanation even today. Stones weighing thousands of tons moved across vast distances, assembled with precision that modern engineering struggles to replicate. They built the mysterious underground cities of Turkey, the ancient ruins of Petra in Jordan, and even traveled to Egypt, where they erected the massive statues of Luxor and constructed the Great Pyramids of Giza. These structures bear the same quarrying techniques seen in both Lebanon and Aswan, where stones weighing over 12,000 tons were left behind, too massive for later civilizations like the Romans to move. But their journey didn't end there. These ancient builders, these progenitors of civilization, continued their voyage eastward. Following the coastline of India, they spread their knowledge to Cambodia, Indonesia, and even as far as Easter Island. This same quarrying style, seen in Egypt and Peru, hints at a civilization that spanned continents, leaving behind a trail of enigmatic monuments. Their influence reached Ethiopia, Sudan, India, with its rock-cut temples descending deep into the bedrock and even into Japan. They spread their version of religion, creating a common thread that runs through the mythologies of Olympus, Scandinavian Viking myths, Egyptian deities, and Hindu gods. Though the names may differ, the physical traits, weapons, powers, and backstories of these gods share striking similarities, a testament to a shared origin. Tale of the first mixed breed. In a time long before the dawn of recorded history, when the world was still wild and untamed, there lived a being unlike any other, a child of two worlds. Born at the intersection of species, this being was the first of its kind, a mix of human and something older, something ancient. Her mother was a Homo sapiens woman, tall and graceful, with deep brown skin and eyes that held the warmth of the African sun. Her father was a Neanderthal, a towering figure with broad shoulders and a body built for survival in the harsh climates of the north. His features were rugged, his brow heavy, and his eyes a piercing blue that seemed to hold the wisdom of the ages. When the child was born, there was silence. The villagers gathered around the mother's hut, whispering in hushed tones, their eyes wide with fear and wonder. The baby, cradled in her mother's arms, was unlike any they had ever seen. Her skin was a rich golden hue, her eyes a vibrant green, and her hair, a cascade of fiery red, fell in waves around her tiny face. But it was her skull that drew the most attention. Elongated and smooth, it gave her an otherworldly appearance, as if she were a creature from the stars. As she grew, it became clear that she was different in more ways than one. She was quick to learn, her mind sharp and curious, grasping concepts far beyond her years. She could sense things others could not, the changing of the seasons, the moods of animals, and even the thoughts of those around her. But with her gifts came a curse. The villagers, who had once adored her mother, began to fear her child. They whispered of dark omens, of spirits that had come to take the girl away, of curses that would befall the village if she remained. One night, under the cover of darkness, the villagers made their decision. They gathered outside the hut, torches in hand, their faces twisted with fear and anger. Her mother pleaded with them, tears streaming down her face, but it was no use. They seized the child and took her to the edge of the forest, to the place where the land met the mountains, and there they left her, alone and shivering in the cold. But the child was not afraid. She knew the land, the creatures of the forest, and the spirits that dwelled within the mountains. As the villagers retreated, she turned her gaze upward to the towering peaks that loomed above her. There, she knew she would find others like her, beings who straddled the line between human and something else, beings who were neither wholly of this world nor of the next. And so the child set off, her small feet carrying her toward the mountains, her heart full of hope. She would find her people, the ones who understood the secrets of the earth, the stars, and the deep places where the sun never reached. And when she found them, she would learn their ways, and together they would change the course of history. For she was the first of many, a bridge between worlds, a symbol of what was to come. And though the world may have turned its back on her, she knew in her heart that she was destined for something greater. She was the first of the mixed breeds, the first of the elves, the first of the dwarfs. And her journey was only just beginning. The hidden lineage of Akhenaten and the echoes of the ancients. As our journey through time draws to a close, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of history and myth, where the ancient past whispers its secrets to those willing to listen. Among the many enigmatic figures that have emerged from the shadows of antiquity, one stands out as a living testament to the lineage we've uncovered: Pharaoh Akhenaten. Akhenaten, the heretic king of Egypt, is perhaps one of the most mysterious rulers of the ancient world. His reign marked a dramatic shift in Egyptian culture, religion, and art, but it was his physical appearance that set him apart, a body and skull unlike any other pharaoh before or after him. His elongated head, narrow chin, and androgynous features were immortalized in statues and carvings, leading to centuries of speculation about his true origins. Could it be that Akhenaten was a descendant of that ancient lineage, the result of the genetic legacy left by the interbreeding of humans with Neanderthals and Denisovans? His distinctive features align eerily with those of the mixed breeds, the so-called elves and dwarfs of ancient lore. But Akhenaten was not alone in this lineage. Far across the seas, in the Andes Mountains of South America, the royal families of the Inca civilization also bore similar traits. Red hair, blue eyes, and elongated skulls have been found among the remains of Incan royalty, traits that were highly revered and associated with divinity. These features, so rare in the native populations of the region, suggest a connection to that same ancient lineage, one that spanned continents and cultures. The Moai statues of Easter Island, too, hold clues to this ancient past. While most of us are familiar with the towering heads that gaze out over the Pacific Ocean, fewer know that these statues once had full bodies adorned with red hair made of volcanic stone and painted blue eyes. These statues, like the Inca and Egyptian royalty, may represent the memory of the ancient beings who once walked among us, those who possessed the physical traits and advanced knowledge that set them apart from the rest of humanity. But it is not just the physical evidence that ties these distant cultures together. The myths and legends of the ancient world also bear witness to a shared origin. The gods of Olympus, the Aesir of Viking myth, the deities of ancient Egypt, and the gods of Hindu tradition all share striking similarities. Consider the Greek god Zeus, the Norse god Odin, the Egyptian god Amun-Ra, and the Hindu god Indra. All are sky gods, wielding thunderbolts or spears, ruling over the heavens, and often associated with eagles or other birds of prey. Each of these gods also shares a common backstory, one of a great struggle against forces of chaos, a narrative that echoes through the myths of every ancient civilization. Even more telling are the stories of the demigods and heroes, figures like Hercules of Greece, Thor of Norse mythology, Horus of Egypt, and Arjuna of Hindu epic. These heroes, born of divine and mortal parents, are often depicted with extraordinary strength, intelligence, or otherworldly abilities. They are tasked with great quests, battling monsters, or undertaking journeys to the underworld. The parallels between these myths suggest not just a shared theme, but a shared origin, one that ties back to the beings who once mingled with humanity, leaving their mark on our genes and our stories. As we reflect on the evidence, the physical traits of Akhenaten, the Inca royals, and the Moai statues, along with the myths that span the globe, a pattern begins to emerge. It seems that the ancient beings who once walked the earth, the result of interbreeding between humans and other hominid species, did not vanish from history, but rather left behind a legacy that influenced the rise of civilizations, the formation of religions, and the creation of myths that have endured through the ages. These beings, whether we call them elves, Anunnaki, or something else entirely, were not merely the stuff of legend. They were real, and their influence is still felt today in the stories we tell, the gods we worship, and the very genes that make us who we are. The hidden lineage of Akhenaten, the Inca royals, and the ancient builders of the Moai statues is a testament to the enduring legacy of these ancient beings, a legacy that continues to shape the course of human history long after their time on Earth has passed. And so, as we close the book on this chapter of our journey, we are left with a profound realization. The history of humanity is far more complex and interconnected than we have been led to believe. The echoes of the ancients still resonate in our world, waiting for those who are willing to listen, to uncover the truths that have been hidden for millennia.